Like a good neighbor, Keith Perret is there. How was that? Was that good?
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I like it.
Good State Farm jingle with Keith Perret as an agency owner on Washington Road. I'm Neil Gordon. Keith, how long have you had the office open in Augusta?
We opened our office in June of 2019.
Okay.
Been in Augusta since January of 2019.
Okay, so we're now over 3 years.
Yes, that's correct.
Fantastic. Now, is this your actual office?
This is our office. It's on Washington Road in between Turner Piano, and there's a Dollar General, and Meemaw had one, so most people know where that is. And that's my car that we drive around. So I figured if I was going to have a car, might as well have something cool, right?
And you know, branding is the key, right?
That's right.
That's fantastic. And so you've been here more than 3 years, and this is kind of like a second career for you. Why State Farm, and why here in the Garden City?
So I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My wife is from Seattle, and we were living in South Mississippi. Our kids were grown. They were in college, out of college. And we were thinking that, you know, we've been blessed when we deserved it and blessed when we didn't. And as we got into our 50s, we wanted to make sure that we were giving back those blessings in a meaningful way to other people. And so when we started looking around for, okay, what should we do? State Farm fit the bill for a number of reasons, right? Number one, neither one of us worked in our local community. We worked for companies that were out of town. We traveled. We did those things. So we wanted to get deep in a community. That was number one. Number two, we wanted to own our own business, which State Farm allows you to do as an agent. We wanted to have a staff that we could grow and help develop and those things. But mostly we just wanted to help people. And we looked at other businesses, but this one really allows you to get involved in people's lives, develop relationships with your customers. And that was very important to me because I've always had State Farm. I've had it since I was 16 years old. I've always known my agent, always had a relationship with my agent, and that's why I stayed with them.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of choices. We flew to actually 10 different cities trying to decide where we wanted to go. And we were praying about it, saying, God, you put us where you want us to be, and we're going to be obedient. And Augusta was nowhere on the list.
Wow.
And it finally popped up, and I asked my wife, you know, what do you think about Augusta, Georgia? She goes, I don't know anything about Augusta, Georgia. Don't they have a golf tournament? I said, yeah. I said, why don't you Google it and tell me what you think? So initially she Googled it, and she came downstairs wagging a piece of paper going, we are not moving to Augusta, Georgia. And when I asked her why not, you know, she had been looking at reviews from 10, 20 years ago where they called it Disgusta. And she's like, we're not going there. I said,
there's actually a podcast for that.
Is there?
Don't call it Disgusta.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But look, so I looked at it. I said, look, this is nonsense. I said, something in my heart is telling me to call the sales leader. So I did that, told her, hey, look, let's go to one more place. So we flew up here. We stayed down at the Marriott. It was a gorgeous day in late September. And first thing I did was take her to Frog Hollow. No plug for them.
Sure.
So we went around that weekend and we looked at the opportunity and what was going on in Augusta with the opportunity to get involved downtown, helping the cyber community, all the things that are going on here.
Yeah.
And when we got back on the plane to go home, she looks at me and she goes, I think this is where we're supposed to be. And I said, I know, I feel it too. And a process that should have taken 4 months took exactly 1 week.
And little did she know, Augusta was just voted the most livable city in Georgia, and one of, you know, in the top percentages in the country. So y'all made a great choice for sure. And again, we're with Keith Perret, who's a State Farm agency owner. And by the way, there's several other agents. So what's a good way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, the best way to get in touch with us, our office number is 706-925-5433. You can find us on the web. If you Google us, we come up pretty well.
Right.
Our website is kind of different. It's www.kp, like my initials, kpinthehouse.com.
KP in the house.
Yes, there's a whole story behind that. We'll go into that another time.
No problem.
But we're pretty visible. We try to get out in the public. We're very involved in the chamber in Richmond and Columbia counties.
Yeah.
Just trying to get our name out there, get branded.
And what do you and your employees kind of stand for when you get to talk to somebody about what you do?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, we are a Christian group. We try to have a very good spirit in our office. But I tell people all the time, we're a little different than other companies in that we help our clients manage everyday risk. And people kind of look at you like, well, what does that mean? Well, let me give you an example. You ever been to Walmart on a busy Saturday?
Oh, yes.
Okay, look, we all have.
Sure.
And nobody likes going. The parking lot is just a zoo. And we have a client. He's about 45 years old, smart guy, good guy, never had a ticket, accident, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But he drives a truck, F-150, and he was parked as he was getting ready to leave, and there was a blue Sienna minivan next to him, and a mom and a small child, a little 4-year-old girl, came out, and he saw them, but then he looked the other way and looked back again, and as he started to back up, that little girl walked right behind her truck, and he hit her, and he hurt her badly. And even though it's an accident, he's responsible for that. And by the time all the doctor bills were in, the lawyer bills, everything, it was over $900,000.
Almost a $1 million.
A million,
Wow.
not quite a billion,
Not a
but
billion.
$1 million. But still, that's a lot of money. Now, fortunately for him, he had come in about a year before and bought what we call a lawsuit protection policy. It covers you, your home, and your autos for up to $1 million. So guess how much he had to pay?
Zippo.
Zero.
Wow.
Now, what would have happened if he hadn't had that policy?
Yeah. His house,
401k, garnished wages, who knows?
Exposure.
Any number of bad things. So we tend to look at the bigger picture, not just your home and your autos, but your home, your autos, your health, your life, all of those things. And we really want to build relationships with people so we know what's going on in your life. Once a year, we bring everybody in to do a review to see what's changed. If you're a young person, did you get married? Did you have a baby? Did you buy a house? Did you get a new job? Are you making more money? Do we need to adjust things? And so really that's what we try to be to people, is somebody that understands you and your family and builds a relationship for a lifetime.
fantastic. And it's been a pleasure to get to know you over the course of the last several months. And our family has started to turn over our insurance work with Keith, because you can tell he'll talk to a horse if the horse will talk back.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? It's very easy to talk to, and we appreciate you. And once again, best phone number for people to reach you?
706-925-5433.
And we have the website, of course, right on the screen. And, hey, I wanted to ask you, so this is your first time here in the podcast studio. What do you think?
Oh, this is amazing. Great place. They do a really good job here.
Yeah.
Friendly, but the setup is awesome.
Yeah, and it's Get Up Productions, by the way, and we've got some information up on the screen. So if your company or organization wants to get involved and learn how to do some audio or video podcasts, please reach out to David or Chris, and they will take good care of you, as they do with us as well. Well, we're pleased to welcome back into the program Keith Perret, who is a State Farm agency owner on Washington Road in National Hills. He's got the cool sports car and 706-925-LIFE on the car as well. And speaking of cars, Keith, people typically do not understand car insurance. I mean, you explained it to me as your client, and I write a check. Very reasonable, a few $100
Right.
a month for our family, but how do you break it down?
Well, there's several components, and really the most important component that most people don't understand is their liability. Mm-hmm. Liability is the one thing that can really get you in trouble, because if you're looking at a policy, there's usually three numbers represented there, and state liability limits, for example, which you don't want, are 25, 50, 25. And what that means is the first two numbers are for bodily injury. So $25,000 per person per accident with a $50,000 max. The last number is property damage. So let me just give you an example. Let's say you're driving down Washington Road, heading toward I-20, where it's just no man's land down there. You got suicide lanes. You got people coming in from the side, and you're driving, and somebody pulls out in front of you because you had just, even if you didn't look down, and you hit them. If you rear end somebody, it's your fault.
Right.
So let's say you hit somebody and you hit them hard, and there's a mom and a small child in that car. Right. They both get hurt. They both take an ambulance ride. They both go to the hospital. They have procedures. And just to be conservative, let's say the child comes back and their bills are $75,000. And the mom comes back and hers are less. They're only $50,000. But if you have $25,000 per person per accident, whether you have State Farm, Geico, Nationwide, whoever it is, they're only going to pay that. So if the child's bills were $75,000 and you have 25, you got $50,000 that's outstanding that you're responsible for. If the mom had 50, you got another 25. So that's $75,000 that your insurance company is not going to pay. On the property damage side, if you hit a car that's worth less than $25,000, you're okay. But what if you hit a car that hits a car that hits a car, and two of them were Mercedes? And you end up with $125,000 worth of damages.
You better get a second job.
Yeah, and you got 25. Well, guess what? Now you got combined $175,000 that you're responsible for.
Wow.
And by the way, they can garnish your wages at 25% in the state of Georgia if you can't afford to pay that, because they're going to get their money.
Wow.
So that's one very important piece. Comprehensive collision, all those things are important. Comprehensive is if a tree falls on your car or a deer, you hit a deer. And what a lot of people don't know in Georgia is that if a rock breaks your windshield, you have to pay that deductible before they'll fix your windshield. It's not like that in South Carolina. So I put people's deductibles at zero for that reason.
Yeah, because it may only be, say, a few $100s, and if your deductible's $5.
Yeah.
You don't
and
win.
normally with today's windshields, it's more than that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So, and then collision is if you're in a wreck, it's your fault, but you still want to get your car fixed, right?
Right.
So you have to have that. But there's a lot of other little components that go into it. But we take the time to explain that to people. Now, you may still choose the lowest coverage. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm going to give you the best advice possible and explain to you why it's important.
Sure. And we're continuing with Keith Perret, who is a State Farm agency owner, and that's on Washington Road in National Hills. His telephone number and website is on the bottom of the screen, and the website is really cool, kpinthehouse.com.
Yeah.
All right. Give us the story.
All right. So this has probably been 20, 25 years ago. I was working as a sales rep for a company, and we had a sales conference. There's probably 600 people in this room, and I walked in, and my friends were all the way on the other side of the house. And I'm going to give the guy credit. Mark Crivishane stood up on the other side of this room and just went, KP in the house. And I've had that ever since.
Ever since.
And I bought that URL way back then and have just kept it. And once we opened this business, I finally had a reason to use it.
That's outstanding. My friend growing up in middle school, Alan Silverman, would call me Flash.
Oh, really?
And that may not always be the best,
right?
Flash Gordon.
Exactly.
So I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, my attitude was this: if we were going to do this and we were going to be successful, we were going to have fun with it. This is a second career for me. I didn't have to do this.
Right.
We wanted to do this. So even around our office, we make sure that the environment is good, that our spirit is good. And I tell the girls all the time, if it's not fun, I'm not coming.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's make sure that we work hard and we play hard and we get the job done and we help people.
Well, service with a smile and also information. So earlier we spoke about the different limits and levels that you might consider with auto insurance. But there are some ways that you can protect yourself, I guess, if someone else doesn't have any.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody should have uninsured motorists.
It's not very expensive, is it?
No, and normally most people do have that. You would have to select to not have that. Okay. The question again becomes at what level, right? If you're gonna have a level of protection for other people, shouldn't you have at least that same level for yourself? So we get into that. We explain that to people to make sure that they understand what that's all about, why they need to have it, what it does for them, and what happens if you ever get in that type of situation. I'll say this too, with anything, whether it's your homeowners, whether it's your car, life insurance, any of those things, I tell people all the time, when something happens, before you make a claim, call me. That's what I'm there for. Mm-hmm. I'm there to guide you through the process, to make sure that we're doing it the best way possible and taking care of you.
And before we scoot on this portion of the podcast about automobile insurance, I know we've begun working together, and you have shared with me that there's some discounts that people can have.
Oh, absolutely.
Explain those a bit.
Well, so for us, the biggest discount you can get is when you combine your home and auto. Mm-hmm. It's literally 17% off your cars, 37% off your house. Mm-hmm. So on the average house, that's $700 a year. Makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. So we generally will quote that every time. If you got cars and you have a home, we're going to quote it. If you have cars and you're a renter, we're going to quote it that way.
Sure.
And then we're going to look at all the different things that you can do to get discounts. And that's really, again, going back to why do you need a State Farm agent as opposed to one of these companies that you can just call into an 800 number?
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple of things. One, we're going to take the time to educate you. I tell people all the time, we don't sell insurance, we explain insurance. And then number two, you get the same people every time you call. So you get to know us and we get to know you versus an 800 number. It's kind of luck of the draw.
Sure.
You might get somebody really good, but then again, you might not. And so it's good to have an agent that you can come to. I had a guy today, he walked in my office this morning and he had some issues with the recent hail damage we had, both on his roof and his cars. And he said, look, I just wanted to talk to you personally before I did anything with this to find out what I should do. Had another client called me right after that on my cell phone. She's going into business for herself. She needs to understand what her business insurance needs are, how we insure her trailer that she's purchasing, all those different things. But when you have a relationship, they can just call me and talk to me, and they know they're going to get to the person that can help them with that.
Excellent.
You know,
and again, kpinthehouse.com, kpinthehouse.com, and 706-925-LIFE.
Yeah, 925-5433.
I love it. Keith Perret, thank you so much again for joining us on the podcast. And once again, we're powered by Get Up Productions, and the website and YouTube channel and social channels are up on the screen. We just invite you to check out some of my colleagues that are doing some really great work in the community with podcasts. And if your company or organization wants to get involved, just get in touch with the folks there at Get Up Productions. Well, so happy to be back with State Farm agent Keith Perret, who runs an office near Meemaw. Is that right?
Meemaw had one.
Meemaw had one on Washington Road.
And we insure her too.
And
So that's good.
that's great.
Yeah.
And that's a good question. So you're kind of on the way to downtown Augusta. You're in National Hills.
Right.
How does State Farm work in terms of territory?
So there really is no territory.
Okay.
I'm licensed in Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, and North Carolina. So we can sell anywhere in those 4 states. Eventually, they'll open up where we can get other states, so I can actually have the states that I grew up in, Mississippi and Louisiana. But essentially, what you really want to do, though, is market near your office. You know, we market South Augusta, but we also market very heavily in Martinez, Evans, Grovetown, Lincolnton, Harlem, all of the surrounding areas. And we're thinking about maybe marketing further in the state. Just depends on what we're talking about,
Right.
what products. But most people want to do business with somebody that's in their close to their area.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, with COVID, it changed a lot of that.
Sure.
You know, people got used to doing things over the phone, over WebEx or Zoom or whatever it is they're using.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of clients that are in, you know, Atlanta. We have clients all over the state as well. But really my goal and what I prefer to do is work with people that are closest so they can actually come in, meet us, sit down and talk to us and develop that relationship.
Yeah, and there's so many different lines of insurance that Keith offers. In past podcasts, we've talked about auto insurance and homeowners insurance and stuff. But, you know, you guys don't represent the duck from Columbus, Georgia, but you have a product that will help you should you have to go to the hospital. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about there
Yeah.
for a minute because I have a friend that has a duck cleaning business and it's
Right,
Follow
right.
the Duck. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've ever
right.
seen that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we offer different things that a lot of people aren't aware of. One of them is called hospital indemnity or hospital income. And it's very similar to Aflac.
That's right.
But it's different in the sense that, you know, the benefits are better, in my opinion, you know, but it's an inexpensive policy. But every time you get hurt, you know, if you get hurt and have to go to the MedHelp clinic for an injury, you get paid $250. If you have to do an outpatient procedure, $250. If you got to stay overnight, multiple nights, $250 a night. If you got to be in intensive care, it's $500.
Wow.
So there's a lot of benefits to say. I mean, I'll give you an example I'm not proud of, but I was in my supply room and I was cutting a box, and instead of doing it like I should,
Oh, no.
I pulled it,
This isn't going to end well.
and it stuck me right in the thigh.
Ow.
And I didn't realize it at first, but then I looked down. I'm like, oh my goodness! So I went to the
Bleeding?
MedHelp, yeah. And when I got there, they were like, "Well, sir, what happened?" I said, "Well, my wife got upset and cut me." Not true. But But, so I got $250 for that, and my insurance covered it.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if your insurance covers it, you still get that. So that's a great product that we offer. Another one is short-term disability. Mm-hmm. We call it paycheck protection. Because if you get hurt or injured and are unable to work, how long can you go, and still pay your bills?
That's right.
So what we sell is small policies that are, $15 to $30 a month, but it will pay your insurance bill. Maybe it covers your car note in that. If you want to have a little bit bigger, you could cover your house note. But it's just one of those things that makes sure that if something happens to you, you don't have to worry about that. But these are the little things that we talk about that you're not going to get calling some of these other companies. Right. One of the biggest things that COVID brought to everybody's attention was life insurance. And whether you're 18 years old coming out of school, whether you're a newly married couple that has children, whether you're a 65, 70, 80-year-old grandparent with grandchildren, there's always a reason to look at life insurance because nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about mortality. But the fact is there's two worlds out there, right? There's the world of probability and there's the world of catastrophe. Probability says you are probably not going to get in a car wreck today. Your house is probably not going to burn to the ground this weekend.
But
you're probably not going to have a heart attack in the next 5 minutes. But catastrophe says, what if you do?
Right.
What then? Are you prepared for that? So it's my job to make sure that you're prepared for those things.
I know we're all adults and people have looked at different kinds of insurance, but has term and whole life changed much over the years? And are those the kinds of policies you offer?
They are, but there's a reason to have each kind of those.
Okay.
For example, if I'm a young family and I've got 3 kids and I'm not making huge money yet, I still need to make sure that those kids are taken care of. If they're 4, I need to take care of them at least till 18. Mm-hmm. So I got 14 years left.
And then do they get off of the payroll at some point?
Well, mine got off of the payroll, but wasn't until like 22, 23, right?
Okay.
But point being is that when they're younger, they can buy term because they get much more insurance for less money.
Gotcha.
Whole life plays a part in that because whole life is actually building cash value, and it's also building in death benefit over time. So you want to have a combination of both of those things. You can't really we're not supposed to call it an investment, but it's a very conservative place to put your money because it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Look at the stock market today. If you've got money in the market like me, you're panicked. Well, maybe not panicked, but you're concerned.
Guaranteed, does that mean we all sort of have an expiration date?
Yeah.
It's guaranteed?
Well, no. It's not only guaranteed to pay out when you die, which it is.
Yeah, okay.
But whole life is guaranteed to continue to grow.
Gotcha.
At a certain percentage. And we pay dividends on that, and we always have and we always will. State Farm is extremely solvent. We're owned by our customers, which means we're a mutual company. We don't answer to Wall Street, and yet we're the largest one out there. And it confuses people like Warren Buffett as to how can they do what they do. But the fact is we've been number one in autos, number one in homes, number one in life insurance written. And we plan to stay that way.
Yeah, and I'd recommend getting a quote. I did so with Keith and saved quite a bit of money as well. I mean, hey, the inflation's not getting any better, so you got to look at that.
And also, it's a simple process. A lot of people are like, oh, my God, I don't want to switch insurance. But the fact is, it's very easy for us to walk you through getting quotes on your home, auto, life, and health. It doesn't take that much work, and we can do it for you very quickly. And then the best part about it, again, what we do is we're going to sit down and we're going to talk to you about it. I have a lady coming in on Friday. She's been with another company for 44 years.
Whoa.
I saw that. I was like, my goodness, But and so there are some things that we can do for her that she's not getting now,
right?
Because she doesn't have an agent that she can sit down and review things with. So hopefully we'll pick up that business. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons to come in and see your agent, and we just want you to know it's easy, it's friendly. We'll treat you with dignity and respect because we want not only your business but referrals is how we build our business.
And no 1-800 number as it relates to Keith. The number up on the State Farm sports car there, 706-925-LIFE, and KP in the house.
Right on.
.com. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Very informative. And you're making insurance fun. I like it. It's about life, right?
Trying.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Neil.
Yep.